your songs on the guitar when you're learning? That's progress. Yeah, but they still gotta be taught a little bit.
Mike fits this. Alright, I'll be back. I'm leaving. Yeah, I think it will. Whoa, where did that come from? Oh, that's mine. Wait. Yeah, it is mine. No, it's not. What is that? Take it. Use it.
takes 18. Queen D8 to H4, check.
It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Queen H4 to G4, check. Queen G4 takes D1, checkmate.
Hopefully you had a chance this week to spend some time with your family for Thanksgiving. Now you get to be with your church family, and that's a good choice that you made. I want to tell you just a couple of things before we get started, mainly having to do with Christmas because we're getting really close now. My daughter tells me that she's allowed to play Christmas music in the house now, so we're getting close to Christmas music, or Christmas season. But there are two things I want you to know. First is that we have a family experience that's happening next Saturday. Did I say that right? Yeah, that's right. Next Saturday, 1 o'clock. Polar Express happens here in the room. We clear out the chairs, bring blankets. We want you to bring blankets and have the kids come in their pajamas. It's going to be a good time. We're going to watch Polar Express, but it's an interactive experience. So we've got some, I think that's called 4D. I don't know if that's 4D, but we've got some interactive stuff happening. So it's going to be a good time, and we would love for you to come. And this is really something that you could bring some family to, or some neighbors to, or some friends to, because it's going to be fun. If they got some kids, and preferably if they have kids. They don't have to have kids, I guess. They could come, but that's going to be a good time. That's happening next Saturday, 1 o'clock. We'd love for you to come to that. And then the second thing is our Christmas services that are happening this year. Christmas falls on a Saturday this year. Was that you? Oh, Sadie's got it. I heard somebody behind me over here. But Christmas falls on a Saturday, so we will not be having church on that Sunday following Christmas, but we will be having 2 Christmas Eve services on that Saturday. We'll be having 2 Christmas Eve services at 3 and 5 o'clock. But this year we're doing something kind of special that we would love for you to be a part of. We have purposefully done 2 services at 3 and 5 so that at 4 o'clock, we can have a Christmas party, a family Christmas party, where we can get everyone together. This is our goal. This is what we want to do. We do not have enough room in this room to have everybody together for one service. We wish we could, but we can't. One day soon, hopefully. But for now, we got to have separate Christmas services. But in between that service, those services, we're going to get together for a Christmas party, and we want to invite you to that. And so we're going to figure out where we're going to fit everybody. We got some different rooms and different traffic flow, but there's going to be coffee and cookies and hot chocolate. And really, honestly, it's just a time for you to hug some necks, say hey to people, love on people, and just see everyone for Christmas. And then we've got a little break before we start the new year together, all right? So we know you probably got some plans on Christmas Eve. We did those services a little bit earlier so you can come to church, be with your church family, and then get to whatever you need to get to. But we want to take some time to celebrate Christmas together as a church family. So that's 3 and 5 o'clock, and then the Christmas party is at 4 o'clock. We'd love for you to make that a priority and be here with us, all right? The last thing, as you probably know, is each week after the sermon, we have the opportunity to take communion together. We're going to be doing that again today, obviously. So after I speak, the band will lead us in some songs. There'll be prayer time, and then you can go to any of the stations here in the front and back there in the back and get your communion elements. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. Let it pass you right by and just stay in your seat. But if you'd like to participate, we'd love for you to do that with us, okay? Everybody stand up with me. We're going to sing some songs together, and we'd love for you to participate. Let's sing together, all right?
Good morning, Hope City Church. We are glad that we get to be together. Maybe you are familiar with this song. Maybe it'll be new to you, but we just want to encourage you to sing with us. Let the King of my heart be the mountain where I run, the fountain I drink from. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the shadow where I hide, the ransom for my life. Oh, He is my song. Sing this out. You are good. You're good. Oh, 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 let the King of my heart be the wind inside my sails, the anchor in the waves. Oh, He is my song. Let the King of my heart be the fire inside my veins, the echo of my days. Oh, He is my song. Sing, you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. Father, good. Oh. Now we want your help on this bridge. Let's sing this out together. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. Come on, sing that out. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. Keep singing that. You're never gonna let me down. Lift your voices. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let, 'cause you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. again, you're never going to let me down. Let this be our reminder that God has got us in his hands, that he knows our future. So come on, help us out. Sing this. Sing. You're never going to let me down. Come on, keep singing that out. You're never going to let me down. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. Come on, keep singing that out. Sing. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. That sounds good. Just keep saying that. You're never gonna let me down. He's never gonna let us down. Keep singing that. You're never gonna come on, sing this out. You are good, 'cause you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, 'cause you are good. God, you're good. Oh, 'cause you are good. You're good. Come on, sing that again. You are good. 'Cause you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. Father, good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, you're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna let me down. Sing that again. You're never gonna let me down. You're never gonna 'cause you're good, 'cause you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, you are good. You're good. Oh, one last time, sing it. You are good. You're good. Oh.
Talking for.
You all sound so good this morning. Why don't you all turn, say hi to a couple people around you, and we'll be back for week 2 of Dark Clouds, Deep Mercy.
Great job, everybody. That sounded awesome. Kaylee, grab your mic stand. We should have let you know that.
I have to get all of my things in order here. Thank you so much for standing. Psalm 13, a Psalm of David, was written many, many years ago, but is just as relevant today as it was then. Why do we know that? Because the Holy Spirit inspired the writing of it then. Is the Holy Spirit present today? Yes, he is. Thank the Lord. Oh Lord, how long will you forget me? Forever? How long will you look the other way? How long must I struggle with anguish in my soul, with sorrow in my heart every day? How long will my enemy have the upper hand? Turn and answer me, O Lord, my God. Restore the sparkle to my eyes, or I will die. Don't let my enemies gloat, saying, we have defeated him. Don't let them rejoice at my downfall. But I trust in your unfailing love. I will rejoice because you have rescued me. I will sing to the Lord because he is good to me. Amen. Thank you so much. You may be seated.
Thank you, Joe. Well, thank you for being here today. I love that we started the service, Kaylee and the team. Thank you so much for that. I love that we started the service with just a declaration of how good God is. And we did that on purpose because we are in this series that we're calling Dark Clouds, Deep Mercy. This is the second week. Last week we started the series. And this is a series about how Christians grieve, a series of messages about how Christians grieve. And we're doing this series very intentionally in the year when we're doing it as we head into the holiday season and as we are coming to what maybe for a lot of people has been one of the tougher years of your life. I know COVID has stretched over multiple years. We're going on 20, 22 months now. But with the culmination of everything that's happened over the last 20 to 22 months and also heading into the holidays, we really felt like, I personally really felt like we needed to take some time to talk about this subject of grief and really a broader subject of emotion, of feeling, because I believe that we are all really dealing with a lot of loss, whether we realize it or not. We have lost a lot over the past 20 months. And I don't think we realize the emotional toll that the last year and a half has taken on us. I made a list, I shared this with you last week, but I made a list of just off the top of my head of some of the things that we have all lost in the last little stretch here. We've all lost our routine in some form or fashion. We've all lost time that we'll never get back. We've lost security and certainty, which is a major desire for the human soul that we've lost. We've lost people that we love. We've lost dreams for our life, potentially. We've lost faith in authority, potentially, some of us. Some of us have lost businesses that we had started. These are just a few of the things that we have lost. And then as a church, we are dealing with loss too. Over that period of time, we've closed down a Shepherdsville campus that we loved, and we closed down the Shiloh's coffee shop, and we've lost church members and friends. Some of you come to church now, and the people who were here before are not here anymore, and there is a part of that is a loss that weighs heavily on our souls. And we have been trained since we were young, most of us, to get over it, to move on, to kind of push it in the corner, push it in the closet, and just stay productive, stay strong. And what happens is eventually those things begin to come out and they play out in our lives. Or for a while they don't, but we can't figure out why we are feeling the way we're feeling, acting the way we are acting, and doing the things that we're doing. And so we're taking these weeks to talk about the way Christians grieve. And the Bible has a name for this, a very specific name for this. It's called lament. Lament. And then the Bible gives us a very specific way that we are to grieve as believers, a specific way that we are to lament. The way that we are to lament. Now, Christians are the only people who can lament. Every human being can grieve, but lament is specifically Christian, because our faith is still in God's goodness, even though we're experiencing the pain of life. We are certain of the future when we will be with Jesus forever, but in the present, we're dealing with pain. And so as Christians, we live in what Dietrich Bonhoeffer called the anxious middle, where we are in a world that has these challenges that we would love to do something about and resolve if we can, but also live with this hope for the future where we won't have to resolve anything. There'll be no more tears, there'll be no more pain, there'll be no more suffering and no more hurting. And so we live in that anxious middle of knowing that, man, we would like for our life to not hurt as much or be as discomforted or be as uncertain as it is right now. And so we go to God and we pray and we grieve and we mourn and we ask and we deal with anger and we deal with confusion while still keeping our trust in God. This is what lament is. And so by the time we're done with this series, I'm going to challenge you. We've got this week and 2 more weeks. But by the time that we're done, I'm going to challenge you to write your own lament. I'm excited about that. We're going to do that together as a church family. But I'm going to encourage you to write your own lament. Your own lament, and you're going to follow this pattern, this specific pattern that a lament shows us in the Bible or teaches us in the Bible, how we deal with pain, confusion, sadness in our lives. And it's a 4, I don't like the word step because it doesn't work. I mean, for analytical mind, it's beautiful. You think it's just very clean, but it's not this clean. But to help our brains understand it, I'm going to call them parts or steps. 4 steps or 4 parts for what a lament is. First, we turn to God. That's part 1. Second, we complain to God. That's part 2. Third, we ask God. That's part 3. And then the last part is we trust God. Turn, complain, ask, trust. This is what we started learning last week. This is how Christians grieve. We turn to God, we complain, we ask, and we trust. Turn, complain, ask, trust. We're going to use this model to write our own lament by the time we're done with this series. And so we have also ordered 20 copies of a book called Dark Clouds, Deep Mercy. I left it in my bag in the office, but there's still a few of those left out in the Connection Center. If you'd like to get one of those, we're just recouping the money that we spent to get them, but we'd love for you to have a copy of that and read that if that's something that resonates with you. I know a lot of you picked up copies last week, but we want you to have that if you want that, okay? Now, this week, we're going to be talking about complaining, but I do just for a moment, I don't have time to recap everything we talked about last week, but I do just for a moment want to remind you of one specific thing we talked about, and that is the vocabulary for our feelings. And we have a slide that I want to show you that I showed you last week, that as human beings, we all experience 7 primary emotions. 7 primary emotions, 4 negative, 2 positive, and 1 neutral. These are the 7 primary emotions you and I experience every single day, whether we realize we experience it or not. And you can see those up there. The negative are fear, anger, sadness, and disgust. The positive are joy and excitement. The neutral, surprise. It can go either way. But what I shared with you last week is that for most of us, we don't feel comfortable owning the primary emotion. So if I say, are you afraid? We say, well, I'm not really afraid. I'm just not sure. Or if I said, are you angry? You say, well, I'm not angry. I'm frustrated. Or if I said, are you really sad? You say, well, I'm not sad. I'm just a little bit upset. And so what we did is we gave some other words to help us with the vocabulary that anytime we're feeling uncertain, we're really feeling afraid. And anytime we're feeling like something's not fair, we're feeling angry. And anytime we're dealing with loss, we're experiencing sadness. These are other words to help us have a vocabulary. And the reason we want a vocabulary is because we want to be able to know how we feel, and we want to talk to God about it. That's the most important part of the process. Is we want to be able to talk to God about how we're feeling. But we can't talk to God about how we're feeling if we don't know how we feel and what words to use to describe what that is. And so our challenge last week was to talk to God and just tell God, whatever it is that you're feeling, we want you to talk to God about it. That's the first step in the process of lament, is we want to talk to God. Whatever it is, He can handle it, just talk to Him. And so the next step in lament is complaining. Today, we're going to learn how to complain to God. Does that sound odd to hear at church? That today we're going to learn how to complain. Now, we know how to complain, okay? We don't have a problem as human beings learning how to complain. Today we were driving to church, and it's my car, so I choose the songs that play on the radio, which upset one of my daughters, and I said, well, you'll have a car one day. And she's like, yeah, when I'm driving you to the nursing home, I'm controlling the music. So we know how to have attitude and how to complain. We know how to do that. It was actually a pretty good one. I laughed. But we don't necessarily feel comfortable complaining to God. We feel very comfortable complaining, but not necessarily complaining to God. And there's a quote by Alexander McLaren that I shared with you last week that we'll be talking about throughout this series, but he said, a thought, be it good or bad, can be dealt with when it's made articulate. A thought, be it good or bad, can be dealt with when it's made articulate. And we talked about that when it came to just talking to God, but that's still so true when we're talking about complaining to God. Because whatever it is you're feeling and whatever it is that you want to communicate to God, as long as you can articulate it and communicate it, you can deal with it. It's only when you feel like you can't articulate it, you don't know how to, you're not allowed to, that you can't, it can't be dealt with. And so today we are going to get permission from the Bible to complain to God, and we're going to learn how to do that, how to bring our complaints to God, what we're truly feeling. We're going to say out loud what we're truly feeling in our souls. And this is really important. So hear this, is that what we are complaining to God and what we are saying to God is what we feel is true, even though it's not true. So please hear that. What we are going to say to God is what we feel in our soul is true, even though it's not true. It just feels true, but it's not true. Whatever you feel is valid, but it's not true. This is something that we need to be learning and teaching the next generation that's coming behind us in the society that we are living in, is that whatever you are feeling in your life right now is valid because you feel it. You feel it, so it's valid. But just because it's valid doesn't mean that it's true. It's just valid. It should be taken seriously because we care for you and we love you, and you should care for you and love you, and so you should take the way that you feel very seriously. But just because you feel something doesn't mean that what you feel is true. But it is how you feel. And you have to be able to deal with and communicate how you feel. Now, I have 4 kids, and when they don't get what they want, they always claim that their siblings are my favorite. Right? You know this, you've dealt with this. Or that their siblings get whatever they want, or that their siblings never get in trouble. This is what my 4 kids say to me when they don't get what they want. You know, it could be not having the right color of popsicle, or it could be not getting a cell phone. Whatever it is, it's because that I don't love them and I love their siblings more, right? And as silly as that is, and we kind of grin at that, that's really kind of the language of the Bible when it comes to lamenting and complaining. Now, in that moment, they feel as if it's true. In that moment, they really believe and feel as if I don't love them and their sibling is loved more, or, you know, whatever it is. But it's not true, but they feel it. And the people in the Bible say the same types of things to their Father, to their God, that my kids say to me. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but people in the Bible said to God things like, why are other people your favorite? Why am I always getting in trouble, but they never get in trouble? This is the way that people talk to God in the Bible. Why do you love them more than you love me, Dad? I wish I was never born. That people say that to God. This is not fair. These are the types of things that children say to their father when they're upset, and they believe that it's true, even though it's not true. They believe that it's true, and so they communicate those things. And these are all things that people said in the Bible. And guess what? God was okay with it. That none of the people who said these things in the Bible were ever struck by lightning, swallowed up by the ground. They were never given a disease. That God was never had a problem with people communicating the things that I just read to you. And he doesn't have a problem with you communicating those things either, because he already knows you feel them. God knows what you feel better than you know what you feel. And so when we complain to God and talk to God, we are just verbalizing what is already true to us, whatever we're feeling inside, and God already knows that. And as I was thinking about this idea and this topic this week, I was reminded that Christianity has always coexisted alongside some of the worst tragedy and suffering in the world. When you trace back Christianity, you find it coexisting alongside these things. Its origins started in slavery in Egypt. Abraham had a son who had a son whose son moved to Egypt, and then the family moved to Egypt, and then 430 years later, the whole nation is there, and they are God's people, and they are being enslaved and punished and worked unfairly. This is the origins of the Christian faith. You fast forward to the New Testament, Jesus, God's own son, God in the flesh, shows up and is the leader of this Christian movement. And they are still under Roman oppression, paying taxes and being taken advantage of. You could find some other examples from that point, but then if you fast forward a good bit, then you come to something like the Holocaust, where Jewish people and non-Jewish Christian people were being persecuted because of their ethnicity and because of their beliefs. One of Hitler's first moves as he was coming into power was to delegitimize the church, to change the belief system of the church, the creeds, the doctrines of the church. So many of the Germans went along with that, not knowing a lot of them what they were agreeing to. And then you even look at U.S. history and you look at how so much of the soulful Christianity, so much of the Negro Christianity is the word we used a couple of weeks ago, that so much of the music and the arts and the style and the soul and the heart of the Christianity in this nation came alongside and lived alongside massive oppression, suffering, injustice. And it's interesting because, yes, we're more than conquerors through Jesus Christ. And yes, when we put our faith in Jesus, we are given the same power that raised Jesus Christ from the dead. But while we live here, Christianity has been hand in hand with some of the worst sufferings in the history of this world. There is this beautiful, beautiful partnership between a faith in Jesus and an existence that is struggling. And as long as human beings have been alive, Christians have kept their faith in God while at the same time crying out to God about what they are experiencing. Please hear that. Christians have kept their faith in God while at the same time crying out to God about the pain that they are facing and they are experiencing. And I want to read you an example of this. They're going to throw it up on the screen for you. But in Psalm, we read Psalm 13. We've been reading that each week. But in Psalm 77, I'm not going to read all of Psalm 77 to you, but I want to read the first 10 verses to you of Psalm 77. And this is what the psalmist said. He said, I cry out to God, yes, I shout. Have you ever shouted at God? He says, I cry out to God, yes, I shout. Oh, that God would listen to me. Have you ever felt like God's not listening to you? When I was deep in trouble, I searched for the Lord. All night long I prayed with hands lifted toward heaven, but my soul was not comforted. I think of God and I moan, overwhelmed with longing for his help. You don't let me sleep. I'm too distressed even to pray. I think of the good old days long since ended when my nights were filled with joyful songs. I search my soul and ponder the difference now. Has the Lord rejected me forever? Will he never again be kind to me? Is his unfailing love gone forever? Have his promises permanently failed? Has God forgotten to be gracious? Has he slammed the door on his compassion? And I said to himself, this is my fate. The Most High has turned his hand against me. Have you ever felt that way? I'm guessing that you have. But have you ever talked to God that way? Have you ever said those types of things to God? God, you've turned against me. You're nowhere near me. When I think of God, I moan. I can't sleep. I lay in bed and I wonder why you haven't helped me, why you don't care for me. Have you felt those ways? Have you ever said those types of things to God? Have you ever been completely honest with God about what you're upset about. I want to try to teach you best I can to complain to God today. And so to help you get started, let's learn the language of complaining to God, okay? Now, complaints to God in the Bible usually involve two questions. Here are the two questions: how long and why? These are the two. This is usually how people complain to God: how long and why. Now, I put together a list of common complaints in the Psalms of how and why questions to God, and I want to put them on the screen for you. So we'll start with why, but these are some common why questions to God. And as I read through these, I want you to just see if any of these resonate with where you are right now in your life and in your faith with Jesus. These are a couple things that the psalmist said to God in their complaints. Why are you so far away? Why do you hide from me? Why are you sleeping while I am hurting? Why are you angry with me? Why do you hold back your blessing from me? Why have you decided to be against me? Why don't you care what I'm going through? Before we go to the next slide, I want you to just take a moment, look at those whys, and maybe grab a hold or one of two or three of those that would resonate with where you are right now and how you feel about your life and your faith and what you're going through with God. All right, let's go to the next one. So those are some why questions, some that help us complain to God. But next is how. How questions. How long? How long will you look the other way? How long must I struggle? How long will I feel this way? How long will the enemy continue to win? How long will you be angry with me? How long will you ignore my prayers? How long will I have to do this? How long and why? And as you look over these two lists, I hope that you can identify and can connect with a few of these, because these are the honest expressions of people complaining to God. And maybe as I am talking about this, you would say, Jason, are you sure this is okay? Like, I've been going to church for a while. I went to church with my mom or my grandma, and, are you sure we're allowed to talk to God like this? Are we allowed to make accusations against God like this? Is this really okay? And what I would say to you is, not only is it okay, it is necessary. It is a vital part of faith. I was talking to a friend of mine a little while ago, a few months back, and I was telling him that I had gotten into a pretty big fight with some of my best friends, and I was saying to him that we'd known each other for 15 years, and we'd never really talked to each other that way, and I just kind of lost my cool and just kind of went off, and I made him feel bad, and I didn't, I felt terrible about it, but I'd kind of lost my cool, and then, they were upset too, whatever, and I thought my friend was going to say to me like, oh man, that's terrible, make sure you make it right. And what my friend said to me is, he's like, good. And I was like, huh? He's like, y'all been friends 15 years, you never talked to each other like that? I said, no. He's like, sounds like you were finally honest. And there was some truth to that. And so I wonder how long you've been following Jesus. Have you and Jesus ever had it out? Have you and God really ever come to blows? Have you and God ever had a conversation where you weren't sure if you potentially crossed the line because you were honest about how you feel? It's not only okay, it is necessary to the faith that you are trying to build. And I'll tell you why it's necessary. I'm going to give you two reasons, and then I'm going to give you something to take with you this week. But the two reasons it's necessary is, first, is because complaining to God forces us to admit how we feel. Complaining to God forces us to say out loud what we're feeling inside. And this is necessary. We're communicating our feelings. Again, God knows how we feel. We don't always know how we feel. But saying it out loud helps us to understand and articulate, and we can deal with whatever we can articulate, remember. So it forces us to admit how we feel. We can't just be fine or frustrated or that's a little bit funny. We've got other things going on inside of us. And so as we complain to God and we get really honest, we're admitting how we feel. So this is the first reason that it's necessary. But the second reason that it's necessary is because complaining to God forces us to admit what we believe. Complaining to God forces us to admit what we believe. And this is such a key part of complaining to God, because remember, whatever we feel is valid, but it doesn't mean it's true. And as we look through that list that we read together, God, why are you so far away? Is that true? Is God far away? No, it's not true. Does it feel true? Sure does. Why do you hide from me? Is it true God's hiding from us? No. But does it feel true? Sure does. Why is God sleeping while I'm hurting? Is God sleeping while I'm hurting? No, he's not. God doesn't need to sleep. But does it feel true? Yes, it does. Why is God angry with me? Is God angry? No, he sent Jesus. We know he's not angry because Jesus died on the cross for us. But does it feel true? Sure does. Why is God holding back? Is God holding back his blessing? He wouldn't even hold back his own son. Is that true? No, it's not true. Does it feel true? It sure does. Is God against me? No. Does God not care what I'm going through? No, that's not true. How long, is God looking the other way? No, he's not. How long am I struggling? That's a question we don't have an answer to. How long will I feel this way? That's a question we don't have an answer to. How long will the enemy continue to win? Is the enemy winning? No, the enemy's not winning. Does it feel like the enemy's winning? Yes. Is God angry? No. Is God ignoring my prayers? No. These are things that feel true but are not true. And something happens when you begin to say out loud what you're feeling, that in that moment, in that exchange with God, you sometimes realize how silly you sound. But other times you begin to reinforce or recommit to what it is that you believe. So you say to God, God, why do you not care what I'm going through? There's something that happens as you say that out loud where in your heart or your soul or your mind, you go, that's not true. Now, it feels true, and that may not happen the moment you say it, but the more you keep communicating it, you are going to reinforce what you believe to be true about God. And so you make these accusations against God or complain to God while at the same time recommitting your faith to God, and we'll talk about that in the last week. And so it's vital, it's necessary to our faith because it's helping us understand how we feel, but it's helping us reinforce what we believe. And so I want to challenge you this week as we're learning how to grieve like Christians, learning how to complain to God. I want to challenge you to use this sentence that I'm going to give you as you pray and talk to God. And here's the sentence, okay? God, I know you are not whatever it is that you feel like he is. God, I know you're not vindictive. God, I know you're not angry with me. God, I know you're not being unfair. God, I know that you're not punishing me. God, I know that you're not, fill in the blank, but it feels like you are today. God, I know you are not blank, but it feels like you are today. If you feel it, it's valid. But it doesn't mean it's true. And so what we want to do is we want to come to God. We want to come to God. And we want to be completely honest with God. However you need to say it, whatever you need to say, he can handle it. But you need to communicate it. And so I want you to grab a hold of some of those Psalms. Hopefully you had a chance this week to find some language, some vocabulary in the Psalms that connected with what you're going through. And then I want you to add that sentence to your prayer as you begin to talk to God when you're having bad days or bad weeks, or you're driving in your car, or you're trying to go to sleep at night, but you're wrestling with whatever it is. God, I know you are not whatever it is that you're feeling, but it feels like you are today. And so we're talking to God. And now that we're talking to God, we're being completely honest with God. Next week, we're going to learn how to ask to God. And then the final week, we're going to learn how to trust God. So I want to pray together this congregational prayer. And I have to admit to you that even as I was typing out the congregational prayer, I felt a little bit uncomfortable because it is a complaint to God. It is a complaint to God. Without tying up any loose ends or without reinforcing anything on the end. It is just an opportunity. Maybe you want to take this and pray this week, or maybe you want to figure out how to put this in the tool chest of your prayer life. But I'm going to pray this for us, and then you join me at the end. This is what it says. Oh God, how long will I feel this way? How long will I be separated from you? I feel the space between us. What once felt personal now feels distant, like you have forgotten me or moved on to something else more important. Why have you not stepped in, O Lord? Why have you not stopped the spiraling of my soul? I look around and see those who do not love you flourishing while I am biting my tongue and biding my time. Will you join me? Oh God, give me back my joy again. You have broken me. Now let me rejoice. Amen.
At this time, we are going to go into a time of worship and prayer together. So you all can stand to your feet with us if you'd like. And during this next song, we have our prayer team. They're going to be up here at the front, and they would love to come alongside you and to pray with you and encourage you. And if you're wanting to take communion, we have 2 tables here at the front and 1 in the back for whenever you're ready to take that. But more than anything, we just want to encourage everyone to continue to worship and to sing with us. Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, early in the morning our song shall rise to thee. Holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in 3 persons, blessed Trinity. Holy, holy, though the darkness hide thee, though the eye of sinful man thy glory may not see. Holy, thou art holy, there is none beside thee, perfect in power, in love and purity. Hallelujah, 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 Jesus reigns. Holy, 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 Lord God Almighty, all thy works shall praise thy name in earth and sky and sea. Holy, 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 merciful and mighty, God in 3 persons, blessed Trinity. Hallelujah, 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 blessed Trinity. You are the blessed Trinity. Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow of turning with thee, and thou changest not. Thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Sing, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see, and all I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Summer and winter and springtime and harvest, my moon and stars in their courses above, join with all nature in manifold witness to thy great faithfulness, mercy and love. Great is thy faithfulness, oh great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see, in all I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. You are faithful, God. Pardon for sin and a peace that endureth, thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide, with strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings are mine with 10,000 beside. Oh, great is thy faithfulness, great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. merciful God.
Service today. Thank you guys so much for that. You know, just listen to that song. It reminds us that it's Thanksgiving weekend. We should be thankful, but then also we complain to God sometimes. But you know what's to be true is no matter what the feelings that we feel is that God is faithful. And we can be thankful for that. And so thank you guys so much for joining us for week 2 of Dark Clouds, Deep Mercies. We're going to continue this for 2 more weeks. This is a great opportunity to invite your friends to come along. You can always find the sermons on our app, and you can share them with them. And also on our app, you can find a way to partner with your finances, and we want to encourage you to do that, but there's no pressure to give. But you can do that, and you can do that on your way out. But you can also find that on our app and also on our website, realhopenow.com. And thank you guys so much for that give throughout the week, as you are so generous that we get to continue providing services and also making a difference in our community. Coming up in 2 weeks on the 12th, we are having baptisms. So if you have been kind of growing in your faith, you want to go public with your faith through baptisms, you can sign up on the app. You just look for a link that says baptism, fill that out, and someone on our team will reach out to you. And we're super excited that we're going to get to do that right at the end of this series. And so be a part of that as well. And then also this Saturday, 1 o'clock, family experience for Polar Express. Come in your matching PJs, like go to Old Navy, buy a whole outfit for all your family, show up, and we're going to lay right here on the floor and watch a movie together. So invite some friends. It's a great, low-pressure, high-invite event. Maybe they might not come to church on a Sunday, but they'll come watch a movie with you, right? So get them in the room. It makes a difference. So thank you guys so much. We will see you all next week. You're dismissed.